Hi, my name is Chris Sumpter, and I play Spencer Haywood.
Hiya, my name is Annarah Cymone, and I play Sandra.
Hi, my name is Furukawa, and I play Natsuki.
I'm Ruth Codd, and I play Anya.
Hi, I'm Sauriyan Sapkota, and I play Amesh.
Hi, I'm Iman Benson, and I play Ilanka.
I'm Igby Rigney, and I play Kevin.
And I am Adia, and I play Sauriyan, and we are the cast of the Midnight Club.
And we're here with BuzzFeed to answer your burning questions.
Spoiler alert! If you haven't finished the season, please don't watch this video. Come back to it when you have.
Ooh, that's tough.
Hard question.
There was a day I remember when somebody came off set and told us to shut up. I think we were playing like Uno or something.
Oh,
Yelling.
That was
and
great.
we were all yelling at him.
Never play
You guys
Uno
are
with
just
Chris.
Never play Uno with Chris.
No.
Alright.
You'll burn your bridges.
I was just gonna say spending every day with these guys.
Mike is so generous as, a director, writer, and everything. I think he put a lot of care and time into each and every one of us. And
It all feels very collaborative too.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
listens, which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
And he's really patient. Like, I love how patient he is, because, like, this is my first time on a set at all, so, like, I didn't know anything, and it was really cool to, like, have him, like, walk us through everything. And he was like, you ask all the questions you want, and it's okay. Like, I will help you. And I was like, okay, great. I don't feel like an idiot now.
I think like none of the episodes are predictable. That's what's so good about Mike's writing. And you think you know where it's going, and then you read an episode and you're like, whoa, it's way off. It's way off.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. Everyone was a lot younger. We're all the same age, so that was cool. It was very loud on set all the time, and it was very energetic. But it was cool just to come back, because, like, Igby was there, and Sam and Zach, and it was like coming back to, like, school after going to summer camp or something, yeah.
And we got to share some of the same crew as well.
Oh, yeah,
and
that was
great.
really
So
cool.
we knew all the makeup people and everybody. Very comfortable environment.
Yes.
Well, I've been a big fan of his for so long. I started watching him with iZombie. Oh my gosh. And just getting to meet him is just so great. My character in my episode is like awestruck to like meet that character. And it was, it was easy to play that because I myself was like, I'll get to like play with Rahul. And he's like, all right, mate. And I'm like, oh. He's great. I'm Rahul's mate. So.
Sam's amazing. I mean, she really brought Julia's character to life. And can I say, is it Julia? No? No, it's Shasta. It's Shasta! Julia! I learned so much from her as well. And as well as Matt. I think Matt was in Midnight Mass too. Mm-hmm. It's great. I mean, he's the best father figure on and off set too.
I think my favorite was me and Chris got to do the black and white, and that was so cool. Because we did like everything. We tried to do the cadence of how those noir films were as well, and we got to rehearse so much together, so it was really, really fun.
Yeah, for that episode, Annarah was just like painted like gray while she was bleeding out on the floor, giving a killer monologue. And surprisingly, I didn't notice at all. I was like, wow, I'm in it right now.
Your tears were just
Yeah, it was
Falling my face,
great,
waterboard.
I got to be a ballerina, which is not a sentence I'd ever thought I'd say. No natural grace at all. So that does show the power of movie magic.
Yeah. No, I totally feel the same about the movie magic thing, because my episode in episode 8 was all just me driving. I don't know how to drive. I've never driven a car in my life, and I actually have a fear of driving. So, during the entire shoot, I was just nervously kind of acting and doing my thing and going, I hope I don't look like I'm just
The set pieces and the costumes and the hair and makeup that we got to play with was really fun for me too. For my episode 5, they blocked off the entire street and they made like a video game store with like vintage video game pieces, and like it was just so crazy to see because I never see that in actual real life today.
They're not vintage. I had a Sega Mega Drive when I was a kid.
Well, they're vintage.
I would say that everybody should pay attention to what's in the basement. And I will leave it at that.
Oh, that's a good one.
It was pitch black,
Yeah.
actually. Like, we had
Genuinely.
the real, like, flashlights to actually see what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was just as scary.
Yeah. There's one scene in particular where in the script it's written that rats kind of run across in front of me, and I thought they were going to CGI it. And I get to set that day, and they have like cages of like rats, plus the dark basement, and rats running across your feet. It's pretty eerie down there.
Yeah, we were kind of learning as we went along because we were getting episodes as we were shooting.
Yeah.
Like, we were getting scripts as we were shooting. So we never really fully knew, like, where we were going along our journey, which was kind of cool because then we had to really be in the moment and just, like, live in our characters right then and there. And then we would find out what would happen in the next block.
We did get those little timelines, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we all kind of had a rough idea of where our characters were going to go. We knew that the pit stops we were going to make along the way, but we know all the little interlude moments. Those were just surprises.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, in the sheet and everything, they gave us a whole breakdown of like our past as well, which was really helpful. So yeah, we knew exactly where we were at that time, at least.
Of course.
I mean, I definitely want I want Dr. Stanton to come tell a story for the Midnight Club. That's my
that's
biggest
what we
hope
did,
if we get a season 2.
Heather's an icon.
Oh yeah.
Heather's just, she's so fun and humble.
And, like, the sweetest human being ever.
Yeah, for real. She's also just like very I don't give up. You know what I mean? Like, she's pretty badass. I remember one time she took me to go get fried chicken and she pulled up outside of my house to like drop me off, and she held up traffic for like 15 minutes while she told me a story. Everyone was like, She was like blowing kisses to traffic and stuff. I was like, okay, Heather, I'm riding with you. Yeah, Heather's sick. We love Heather.
Yeah. We did the first table read in the library, which was so cool because we had actually we never saw it, the whole set, and it was done at that time.
Yeah.
And that was really, really cool.
Yeah, the moment of just walking into this massive library is honestly one of the most magical moments being there, yeah.
Yeah, well, they found me on TikTok in the dark corners of the internet. I thought like casting were taking the piss when they asked me to audition because I was like, well, I've never acted, so it's like, you know. So I submitted like a self-tape, and I was like, I'm never going to hear back from them. And then they rang me and told me I got it, and I was like, you sure? I was like, you sure? So yeah, you just kind of. I mean, we were all, a lot of us were in the same boat, so we were just kind of like threw ourselves into it, and you know, we had each other, so it wasn't. I'm not gonna lie though, some days I did go back to my trailer and I was like, oh god.
Yeah, I thought it was a scam because it was, it was so good to be true, you know. I was like, Jesus, like I'm gonna be on Netflix, and because I got a call the very next day, I sent in the tape because they were looking for a mesh. Like, I think I was the last person to get cast.
You were.
And it was they were like, oh, we love you, we want to get on Zoom, and I was like, okay, here we go. Take all my money.
For me, it was the whole scene at the very end. Spoiler, I can say that though. It was the scene at the very end where Sandra leaves, because that was just a lot of crying all day. And then like you guys were just, it was like, and like driving in the car. I actually like drove away in the car. It was very tough, but that scene I was really, really proud of, and it was nice to have like literally everybody in the scene with me.
Obviously, the moments between Amesh and Natsuki. I think those private moments where we really express ourselves to each other and stuff, those scenes were really, really special.
Yeah, I'd say because Amesh, you get to see a whole different side of him, and I love playing a very, malleable character, and I feel like once you get to see Amesh's like vulnerable side, that's very fun to see.
For me, I'm gonna say for episode 9, I was like strapped to a scientific machine that was supposed to be lasering in my eye. There was like a screw that I like started picking at while I was like screaming, and I remember at some point it like fell and I like sliced my finger, and I was like bleeding, and I was like, ah! And I don't think they noticed because they were like, keep rolling, perfect, keep screaming. I'm like, ah! Ah! And I'm like actually bleeding out on the floor. And I remember like that day being like, wow, I'm losing oxygen. But then I saw the result and I was like, that was amazing. Thank you guys for rolling.
That was insane.
That's such a
literally.
spirit.
That did
I
happen.
love that.
It really is.
I love the moments that I got to, I think in Ilanka's story, I have a couple moments with Ruth. It's your character Scotty, correct? When we're like
Oh yeah.
together.
Oh, with the
Like,
umbilical
two-
cords?
Yeah. And I think those moments are really beautiful.
I like just remembering Anya. Like, we told stories about her in episode 10. This is a spoiler. And I just loved, like, how we were all telling her story about Anya and remembering her. And it was such a beautiful day, too, because, like, everybody was crying. We cry a lot on this show.
So much.
We cry a lot. But it was just really beautiful to, like, just remember her and commemorate her and stuff. So I loved it.
I'm gonna go super early in the season. I was so nervous about Kevin meeting Ilanka. That was like, I was very nervous about that scene, but I think it came out pretty well. So.
Yeah.
There was a scene in episode 2 with Ilanka where Anya has another go at her and gives out to her for kind of saying like pity isn't helpful, and it was a huge big monologue. I'm not very good at putting things like into words, like how I'm feeling, and I remember like how I felt as a disabled teenager. I'm like, that's how I felt. I was just never able to put it into words. That scene for me, I could like feel it when I was saying the lines like in the pit of my stomach.
I wasn't in the room and I felt that. I was just peeking through the door. I was like, damn. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I think before our big kiss scene, we were like, all right, we're gonna kiss. Here we go. We're gonna start dancing.
Yeah.
It was just us in the green room, and we're like,
We were
running
dancing in
around.
a circle.
Yeah, we were doing
Yeah.
laps around the. Like, all right, kiss, and then we would have high five every time we passed each other, and then they're like, all right, you're ready. All right, let's do it.
We're like, okay, let's go.
I likes to scare people.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, oh, yes.
She
Yes.
loves that.
Yeah, I do.
Thanks, BuzzFeed.
Make sure you catch us in the Midnight Club on Netflix.